Hello, and thank you so much for joining me for your ROH review. I am solo today, but some exciting news on that front that I'm going to fill you guys in on. Shared it on Select first. If you had been subscribed and listening to Sour Graps, you would already know who my permanent co-host is going to be, but I'll tell you that in just a moment, right after I remind you to get in your super chats. No humper chats tonight, but to leave a thumbs up on this video if you would. We got the TNA post show on the back end of this. You got me running down ROH for the first half of this, but very excited to tell you about what's on FightfulSelect.com. We had so much news breaking this week and even more coming out of Double or Nothing, I'm sure. A double pay-per-view weekend is going to yield a bunch of stuff, but one of my favorite parts of Fightful Select quickly is becoming the Fightful Select Discord. I didn't do it this week, but I've done a couple of Q&As. And I have loved it. And I like the times that I'm in there. I just forget to go in there. I've been better at it since I've been locked out of Twitter, thanks to Tom Campbell, who's being such a scutch about it online, as is my own boss, by the way, Sean Ross Sapp, putting Tom Campbell over me on his solo stream yesterday. Just rude, but I didn't really care because I was at the beach and it's all in good fun. But I will say, you know what I did? I got Sean secured to throw out the first pitch at the Lexington Legends game tomorrow. And I was all excited for him. And I was like, you know what? He's had a rough month. He's had a rough couple, like 6 weeks to 2 months, really, at this point. What a wonderful, fun thing that would be. I hope he would feel so special getting to do that. What does he do? He buries me. So now I hope that he throws it like 50 Cent, if you guys are familiar with the gif and the whiff that 50 Cent had. But we're going to talk some ROH, get in those super chats, or even just these regular chats that keep me going through these solo shows, saying at this point I don't even watch ROH. I just keep up because of Kate. Not great as a reflection for the product, but I appreciate it very much. So thank you so much for being here. Props to Kate Pay for pulling through. This is tough because it feels like there's some good and some bad, but the good is stuff that we should be able to expect, and the bad is very, very fixable. But we're going to get into all that and more. I'm also extremely excited to let you guys know that SP3 is going to be my permanent co-host starting in June. So you'll have one more guest host show next week with me and a guest host, and then you'll have SP3 as my full-time co-host, which I'm so excited about. I always have such a blast when he's on. Starting clean in the new month, second half of the year. SP3 is going to be joining me on the ROH. So if you haven't seen him yet, you'll fall in love with him. I do every time we're on stream together. And it's not just because he's a ZSJ stan like myself. He just has such an infectious energy and brings a wealth of knowledge to the show. So I'm very, very excited to have SP3 as my permanent co-host moving forward, starting at the beginning of June. Keep me alive in the chat, guys, even if you're not sending in super chats, which are always appreciated. Let me know what you were thinking about tonight's show. Because I got to say, I have some overarching complaints, but these are so much easier to digest when we're closer to an hour. The only thing I'm sad about being locked out of Twitter on, it's been a very peaceful week. I'm not going to lie. But being locked out of Twitter, I was very sad that I couldn't tweet about the fact that this episode was 69 minutes long. And as you guys know, if you're familiar with me, I am a purveyor of 69 jokes, and I wasn't able to make any. I was so bummed, but this was a 69-minute episode. My only complaint is this is a couple weeks now where we're just getting like 3 squashes on a card, and I'm like, well, hold on. That kind of feels like you're just smushing stuff on there for the sake of smooshing stuff, but we're going to get into all of that and more. A lot more of you are watching now than you were at the start of the show. So I will just remind you to leave a thumbs up on this video if you could. It is our little show that could, I always say, because it's got both of the paywalled shows, or hardest to access shows, at least, I guess, with us and with TNA. So we are going to get into all that and more. And Cresta and Joel will be back here on the back end of the show. So we start off with a great match between Kyle Fletcher and London Lightning, who I was not familiar with before these tapings. I'm very glad to be familiar with now because he is very, very impressive. I think commentary said he's only been at this for 2 years, and he's very, very good. Very, very good. This was a proving ground match. This was one of the longer proving ground matches that we've seen, and I really appreciate that. because as this was going, I was like, damn, maybe someone's going to finally prove their ground, because we got 9 minutes into this and Kyle Fletcher had not secured the pin. And we've seen London Lightning a couple times. So I was like, that would be a fun story if a non-ROHer was able to pull one out here. That doesn't happen, unfortunately. A huge pile driver from Fletcher for the win in the last minute of this. But this was a whole bunch of fun, man. Kyle Fletcher is so damn good at every aspect of this. Pacing, facial expressions, selling, delivering offense. Putting together an in-match story is something that he is very, very good at for such a young age, for any age, honestly. It's kind of, it's really getting out of that young phenom, 25 and under, whatever, and just now moving into, he's just one of the best at any age to do this. And it's very, very cool to see. I do miss Mark Davis, but he is having a hell of a singles run, and the future is very, very bright for him. But some good stuff. We got a dive from Lightning into a brainbuster. It was like a dive to the outside. And instead of just catching and falling, Kyle, or catching him and cradling him like a baby, which we see when their size proportions, right? He just catches him and kind of scoops him into a brainbuster in a way that I haven't seen before. If you can do something in wrestling that I haven't seen before, or I see very rarely, I am in. I am in. That's a very difficult thing to do at this stage of the game, for sure. So I really like that kind of stuff. London Lightning has a great elbow from the top rope. I loved Ian Riccaboni also noting the proper pin that London Lightning was putting on. He does a lot of fundamental things very, very well. Some really nasty kicks to the chest from Kyle Fletcher in this. And I love, as the time limit was encroaching, Kyle Fletcher started to take things more seriously and get a little bit more vicious in his offense, because he was trying to put him away. Like, he definitely did a great job of telling the story of, the closer we get to the time limit, the more punishment you're going to eat. And I really, really, really like that. Big fan of what we got out of this. But overarching complaint, continually, nobody proves their ground. Nobody has won a proven ground match yet. And I think part of the problem is they don't come from inside the locker room. I said this a little bit last week, and I'll reiterate it again this week, because I feel as though it also applies. People in the back should be wanting the titles, right? Like, if you told me who's next in line for Mark Briscoe, I don't freaking know. Mark Briscoe hasn't been around. I know he had a kid, so no disrespect to that, but no vignettes. We get the cool AEW stories thing, which I'll talk about when we get to it. But for the most of them, we've gotten a couple sporadically, the infantry, and I think there was one on the single side. It might have been Lee Johnson. Oh, the infantry are the only ones to have done it. Okay, well, there you go. Like, I don't understand why people in the back are not the ones that are trying to get these title shots. It just makes no damn sense. And it's because this is a directionless product. Like, it feels a lot like being sour on Tuesday nights in a lot of ways. And they are also two products that are in the same boat of being half standalone brand and half developmental, right? Like, so maybe it just comes with the territory, but it certainly feels like before the last pay-per-view, this company was on track, or this promotion was on track, at least with telling stories going into things. I don't know where Dalton Castle is. He had a Collision appearance. Same with Johnny TV. Ethan Page is gone. We get Lee Johnson back tonight, but it feels like a lot of just men's singles talent is nowhere to be found. The Pure division has evaporated. We do have our tag champions around, which is nice. We do have Kyle Fletcher around, which is nice, but he's not fighting with anybody in the locker room. He's just taking on indie chumps and beating them up. No, I'm kidding. I love independent wrestling, but for the sake of the Kyle Fletcher perspective, I say that. So it would just be nice if people in the locker room wanted title shots, is all that I'll say. But the news that made me maybe the most excited on this episode, the Workhorsemen are back. What a journey it's been from Anthony Henry getting released after being injured to coming back here. I loved the cohesion. I loved the matching gear on both sides, by the way. Serpentico and Angelico having matching gear, which I appreciated. Anthony Henry's hair, like, he looked super lean. Like everything just was feeling very refreshed. The crowd gave him a really nice response as well. And it was a really, really fun match. I love the tandem offense spot of the standing twisting neck breaker into the senton from JD Drake. Anthony Henry locking on one of those standing twisting neck breakers looks so great. I'm a huge fan of that. ZSJ does it all the time. It's one of my favorite moves because it just looks so nasty. And what I love in wrestling, this is probably why the Samoa Joe walkaway spot is my favorite spot ever. I love in wrestling when somebody can do something that looks extremely violent or vicious that requires as minimal effort on their part, because one, it makes you look extremely smart, and two, it also just makes you look kind of cool. Like if the move is incredibly easy, it also makes you look extremely like opportunistic and cool, in my opinion. So just cool points for that sequence. But a really nice second rope DDT on JD Drake from Serpentico in this. Again, I love the diversity of the roster. We get someone like Serpentico. Later, we get someone like John Cruz. I just feel like they're so different. And it's nice to see that mix here in ROH. But I also liked Angelico and Serpentico having matching gear. I guess they're a tag team. It would be nice to see some contendership really pick up in the tag team division. And this match was great. We do have Griff Garrison and Cole Carter interfering. They look like they walked right out of an Abercrombie for this. Like, it was like, I got off my Abercrombie shift and here I am. Like, Cole Carter shirtless in his jeans and his hair, and Griff Garrison in his like navy Docker shorts kind of cracked me up. I don't know what's going on with this team. I get the story with Ariya. I get that inevitably they'll have a tag title shot against the Undisputed Kingdom. That all makes sense, right? But taking a vested interest in here, the Workhorsemen getting the win in their return. Some good stuff. I'm a big proponent of the Workhorsemen, always have been. Big fan of what they do, and very happy that Anthony Henry is back in the picture here for sure. Even more of you have piled in since we kicked off this stream, so I'll once again remind you to please leave a thumbs up on this video. It's very helpful to people finding us in the algorithm. I'll also go ahead and remind you to subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. Before I put over the Discord, I always put over Sean's Q&A show too. I think it's just an extremely valuable thing to have. He does a really great job with those. The Discord also has an Ask SRS channel. Please, for the love of God, don't tag him in that channel. It's dedicated to questions for him, but some really good stuff happening. 2 pay-per-views this weekend. I know Double or Nothing's going to have some fun stuff that you guys are going to want to stay tuned on. MJF news broke up there earlier. The continued questions about Becky Lynch's contract, Natalia's contract. There was at least initiation for conversation. So big contract season still to go, people. Stay tuned. Stay tuned to FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the biz. As I do that, your girl needs a manicure. So send in some super chats if you can, because girl's got to get her nails done. For Kaza asking in the chat, he was 2 times in NXT. He got splashed out of the company. He has a good moveset. I just feel like his identity and Griff Garrison's identity is kind of all over the place. Like, it felt like they just were clinging on to the fact that Maria is a MILF, and dear Lord, she is one of the most stunning people I've ever seen in my life. But they've been kind of silly with that. They've been more serious. They've been not on the same page. They've been on the same page. Like, they just don't seem to have a clear identity of who they are. And that's okay. Like, that's a criticism for me to make as a professional podcaster. I hate how self-important that sounds, but legitimately, what I mean by that is it's like an analytical criticism. I say it with the understanding that this is a developmental program for developmental talent, right? So I think it's something that they'll get to. It just doesn't feel like they're there yet. But it also is hard because this promotion feels kind of directionless, so I don't know how people are supposed to find their identity when the program is directionless, right? Like, that's hard. That is hard, but we continue on, as it were, anyway. We get a Daddy Magic promo that I'm going to talk about closer to his match, but we move on to Nyla Rose and Rhea Von Slasher. What a name! Rhea Von Slasher. There's like Masha Slamovich, and then there's Maria Von Slasher for like coolest names I think that you can get as a kick-ass woman. But commentary, again, Caprice and Ian always do such an incredible job, but really putting over the fact that Rhea Von Slasher kind of isn't as easy to throw around for Nyla as most of her opponents are. There's not like a huge size and strength differential. Rhea Von Slasher is as you would picture her. She's a big, strong woman. Absolutely love the name that we get for her. But this is a glorified squash. And one thing I didn't love about this episode was the sequencing of it, where we got 3 squashes kind of in a row. But a fun spot in here. We get Nyla with some kicks early on, but there's a spot where Rhea Von Slasher goes to cannonball Nyla in the corner, and she just moves out of the way. And then she delivers a cannonball of her own. And I just thought that was a nice, like, I'm a step ahead of you. I'm a little bit more veteran than you kind of sequence. As I said earlier with that standing twisting neck breaker, I love moves like that. I love when Smojo moves out of the way. I like when Nyla moves out of the way. It's some good stuff. So I appreciate that about it for sure. For sure. But Nyla wins with the Beast Bomb. We have Meet Normus always being so generous here, saying, here's a small sack of monies for Minion 690069 to get her nails done. Well, thank you. I'm going back to my meat sandwich. Toodles. I always appreciate you. Even as a vegan, Meet Normus, like a top 5 person in the world. Just the best. But feel free to get in those super chats. Oh my goodness. Shea Monster following up with, here's for a nail or 2, TMD Kate. Marina winning the Defy Women's title, winning Bloodsport's women's tourney, all for her in ROH. Killing ladies. We're going to talk about this next, actually. So thank you for the easy segue, Shea Monster, in addition to your support. I have no excuse not to get these nails done now, but we do get a really nice video package, and it's just basically, it's very well shot. The production in AEW has picked up a bit. I feel like that's probably some good pressure from WWE's picking up a lot of it, right? So I really like that we're getting such high quality stuff here. But this is basically just saying that her dad taught her to be a badass and a winner, and that she's going to teach her son to do the same. So I really like that. I wonder if her son is going to challenge for the ROH World title at this point. Who knows? Who knows? He could dethrone Mark Briscoe. I think he's like 8, maybe. I think he beat up Stokely Hathaway in NXT. So, I mean, he can work his way up the ranks. Cutie pie. Good to see, though, and I love the approach there. And I love that they're investing in Marina a little bit. I like that she's cutting her teeth on the indies a little bit. I think her style is really cool. And it fits in so well with the ROH brand that the more she gets in the ring, the better she's going to look. Wow. Spoiler alert. That should be on Fightful Select. That's such a hot scoop, but Matthew Hook saying, Kate, I will continue my rant about people getting matches on multiple shows, yet some people get none. With this massive roster, why don't we use it? So there is okay, now you're being an annoying troll, so I'm going to put you in timeout. Guy who was saying wrestling's not real. Yeah, duh. Neither any of your other TV shows. Oh, I thought Marvel was real. Like, get out of here with that shit. So part of it is the recording schedule, right? They record on Saturdays. So it's whoever is there and available for Collision that's not being used for Collision is who we're going to get. No, I wasn't calling you a troll, Matthew. So that's a big issue, is are they used on Collision already? But to your point, like Serpentico and John Cruz being used like this, I'm like, we do have an enormous roster. We have a very bloated roster. We have a lot of people kicking around not doing anything, and we have a lot of people that got released from ROH when it shut down, who, if you needed utility guys, Cheeseburger, LSG, Eli, Isom, I see you, like, they could be around for those things. But this is also the problem of they're like, okay, it's a proving ground match with you, it feels like, right? Like, oh, you're here. So it just feels like it's a lack of effort. And what's disappointing to me about it feeling like a lack of effort is it felt like we were getting that effort for a while going into the pay-per-view. And I'm very sick of the on and off, on and off and off, because I don't know where my expectations should be with that. Like, if I knew what I was getting every week, I could probably sign up for it easier. And just appreciate it for what it is. But sometimes it feels like they're really doing their best to tell stories that make sense and lead into championship programs. And then other times it feels like it's AEW Collision leftovers. So, and it's disappointing because it's a brand that deserves more and the talent deserve more. Like, Top Flight was white hot, and like Darius and Dante were both out injured, and everybody was so excited when they reunited. And now, like, sometimes they were trios, sometimes they're a tag team, sometimes they're an AEW, sometimes they're an ROH. Brian Keith can't buy a storyline to save his freaking life. He's getting double submitted on AEW and reappearing out of nowhere. Like, it's maddening to me how bloated this roster is, and to your point, there are just like multiple matches, multiple people, whatever. Tim McFowle saying more name monies for TMDK. That name is too good not to use. I miss the real ROH. It's hard to justify $10 a month with such inconsistent booking. Yeah, that's a pattern we've been hearing. I was hoping the TV rights deal would kick them into a higher gear, but maybe not. Maybe they're like, and we'll throw this in on Max. So I don't know. Kyle Sparks, always the researcher here, and I appreciate him so much, saying through 65 episodes to date, 44 proving ground matches in total. That's honestly too many. Yeah, especially when like 43 of them have not proven their ground. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating because it's a brand I'm incredibly passionate about, and I feel like the talent deserve better. Because it just feels like the leftovers brand, and then when a pay-per-view comes, they're like, oh, we'll pull someone down from the main roster for a program. Like, why should any tag team in ROH feel motivated right now when they're like, oh, you know what? It's going to be 2.0. We're just going to give them a title shot. Or, oh, the ROH tag champs, they're in an eliminator thing for the AEW tag championships. Like, there is no reason as a talent to feel like you're building toward anything, because they're just not. There's no divisions. There's no wins and losses being kept track of. There's no real progress. And I can't even tell you who's in a men's singles division at this point. Lee Johnson was in an 8-man today. Like, what are we doing? It's literally just effort. It's literally just effort. And that's what drives me so crazy. And why I was so excited about what Ethan Page was doing, because Ethan Page was taking such pride, it felt like. And then they just threw it out the door. So unfortunately, I've seen a lot of that. A lot of people saying, I can't really justify $10 a month on this. So that's very frustrating. As far as the TMDK nickname goes, that's been cooking for a little bit. I think I gave it to myself, to some of my Australian friends, but I would appreciate if it caught on, especially because there are some fellas in that faction that I talk to, and I would love to be able to troll them about how over I am in it. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that I am synonymous. There are people online who will be like, she's a WWE shell or she's an AEW shell. Real ones know I'm a TMDK shell and like a New Japan shell and an Eddie Kingston like swooner, I guess. Like, that's what I should really be known for. Yeah, I'll pull this up just because I'm an Ethan Page guy. I don't know either. I don't know how you fumble that guy. I wish him the best in whatever he does next, because it felt like the North was really cool, and then Impact at that time didn't use him to his ceiling, and then AEW Men of the Year was so cool and so over, and then just the Firm didn't do anything. American Top Team didn't do anything. He puts together all these great singles runs. And if he left because he was frustrated, he's kind of right. He's kind of right. So I don't know. I don't know if it was a contract thing. I don't know if he was just annoyed, but I would get it. I would get it with Ricky Starks too. Another person that I can't believe they've been whiffing on so bad, but it's hard. It's a hard thing. So we move along to Jimmy Jacobs and Satnam Singh for reasons. The Zombie Princess. This was nice. It was nice to feel like old ROH feels popping back into the picture for sure. I appreciate Jimmy Jacobs getting a rep here. But again, like he has an office position in AEW. Like him, John Cruz working 2 matches. At least I think. I don't know. Kind of felt that way. Maybe I have him confused with someone else. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, put your talent out there. Make sure they're available, or I don't know, plan an episode far enough in advance that you're not just pulling random people out from the locker room and you actually know who you need. But we get like a very, very large crossbody type thing from Satnam Singh on this. And then a power bomb that didn't look so great. I don't know if it was just the way he came down because he was falling from like 10 feet in the air, but the bottom of him hit before his back, which is the opposite of how that move should go. So 1 for 2 with Satnam Singh. I mean, he fought the best wrestler in the world yesterday, so we'll see. But Team TNA is not for me, as you guys know. Also, Jimmy Jacobs with the fireworks. The fireworks budget for Jimmy Jacobs, I don't know if they were expiring soon or what the deal was, but my God, did they set off a ton of pyro for that guy. Good for him. He deserves it. I've never heard a bad word about Jimmy Jacobs. I've heard many good words about him. In fact, give him the Cody pyro. Give it to him. I know they have a pay-per-view coming up. Maybe they can't use pay-per-view, the pyro at the pay-per-view, and they were planning on it, so they were like, Jimmy Jacobs gets it all. I don't know what that was, but this was the squashiest squash match that ever squashed, and it did happen. So so there you go. We move on to John Cruz and Spencer versus Shane Taylor Promotions. This was another glorified squash, but a little bit more of a fun one because I think it was a little more productive. I said this, and I'm going to keep beating this drum because I think it's a good idea. And I like my own ideas sometimes. Match was fine. You get Ogogo getting some early offense in. You get him Ogogoing. You get Shane winning with the Marcus Garvey driver, and Ogogo with a knockout punch on Spencer, who's trying to break up the pin, which looked great. Shane with a big punch in here too. Shane Taylor's faces when someone doesn't go down from a punch, like, man, what the hell? Just so much fun. One of the most authentically emotive big men that we get. I feel like so many big men get the like treatment, and Shane just feels like, I'm a big ass dude, but like I am very much grounded in real person behavior, and I love that about him. Been a fan of his for a while. I would like to see them add another piece. I would also like to see Lee Moriarty wrestle. That would be nice. But overall, perfectly fine. I said this is what I was saying the other day. I feel like squash matches are usually used to tell the story of like, this really huge guy is big and indestructible. And if it's something that I can tell looking at him, that's cool. I think it would be really cool if we had a series of squash matches from like a mid-sized competitor that had one move and it was just so lethal and nobody could figure out a way out of it until they did. Like, I compared it to what Ronda Rousey actually did, basically, which was like, if you're in an armbar, you're screwed. Like, you just are. Like, when she was in UFC, if you got caught in an armbar in the first couple seconds of the match, you were completely screwed. And if you survived, you were probably screwed later on until she wasn't, right? Until Holly Holm. So I just think that would be really cool. And I feel like it's a story that we don't really get. And it's one that I would love to see. So if anybody had one move that looked really lethal, and it has to be the right move to, like, it can't just be a protected finisher. Like, it can't be Sol Ruka with the Soul Snatcher on Tuesdays or whatever. But, like, if somebody just had the nastiest armbar that you could get into from any direction, feels like this would be a cool thing to do with Layla Hirsch. Could be a really cool story for the Deeb Dojo if she's ever going to have any students in her dojo. Alex pointed out on Saturday, like, she has this flag and she has a dojo and nobody ever questions that. Like, nobody's ever like, you don't have any students in your dojo. And like, why do you have a flag? It's not from another country. It's just your dojo with no students. Like, what recruitment methods are you using that are failing so terribly? But I would love if like Layla Hirsch and Rachel Ellering or somebody moved into that picture, like under the tutelage of Serena Deeb. It could be like a little bit cleaner of a Blackpool Combat Club that maybe isn't, I mean, could be equally as violent, but is a little bit more technique based. I guess a little more hard dungeony in a way. So I just think that would be cool. I talked about that on yesterday on the Mark Order podcast. Feel free to subscribe there. That's where I spend my Wednesday nights, at the Mark Order podcast. It would be cool if that was something that Ty Conti came back to, because she had such a unique style and kind of had like her kicks were really awesome. Like, if she came back and was under that, I think it could do wonders for her. So I think it'll be good. That would be cool if she had students in her dojo. It would be nice to have some women's factions running around here. But John Cruz also just like always makes everyone look good. Like, no matter what the story is, it's usually he's getting his ass kicked. But if it's not, he's very giving in what he gives usually younger talent. This was really fun because he like escaped a little bit and then didn't. So just his facial expressions, really good storytelling for how brief of a match this was, for sure. So we get the first of what I'm assuming is going to be many AEW stories, and it's of Mark Briscoe. It's a beautiful video package that I think is alluding to longer form content. I'm sure they're going to be pumping out a lot of stuff like this as they are keeping Max in mind for their negotiations coming down the line. It would behoove them to do so, to start thinking in terms of docuseries style type things. I think Mark Briscoe is the ROH champ, but it looks great. It looks very sincere. Seems very authentic to what their story is, and it includes a lot about Jay, it sounds like. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. And if it's culminating at the pay-per-view we just had and him winning the ROH title, that's a beautiful way to kind of kick off what this series would be. So looking forward to that. Looked great. Looking forward to more. Looking forward to his specifically and who else they decide to do this with. I'm sure Eddie Kingston's has a hell of a story. I would love to see one on him. There's a lot I would like to see. Well, we get to Matt Menard and Mike Bennett in what was a way more fun match than it had any right to be. We got a promo earlier where Matt Menard is like, I don't know where my tag partner is. He got morning sickness or something. He, of course, was off to marry the beautiful Ruby Soho. Congrats to them. Best wishes in the next chapters of their life. They're married now. They got a kiddo on the way. So just hope that they are having the happiest time in a period of their life that is much bigger than wrestling. So very, very happy for them. But Matt Menard, no selling the whole experience, which was pretty funny. But he says he has this opportunity against Mike Bennett, and you know what that does? Made his nipples hard. So we move into what was a very, very, very fun match. Some really fun spots in here to call out. There was a Boston Crab from Daddy Magic, Mike Menard, into a Spicoli driver that was just really, really nicely done. The Spicoli driver from Mike Bennett always looks great. Taven hits Bennett with the powder accidentally at the end of this. I don't know what type of powder it was. It could have been gunpowder, could have been baby powder, but he goes to hit Daddy Magic with it, ends up hitting Mike Bennett instead, and Daddy Magic getting the win off of the distraction there. This was so much better than it should have been. Matt Menard used several barricades as weapons in this. Tons of counters to pile drivers in this. Tons of just counters in general. Like, he had answers for everything, and I liked that Mike Bennett also tried to slow the action back down in the ring of like, damn, this guy, he responds to everything I'm throwing at him. Let me put him in some submission holds, right, to slow down the pace of this match. That's kind of the value of Mike Bennett to me, and it's kind of the best thing you can be as a wrestler, is someone who pretty much everything they do is in service to their opponent in a wrestling context, right? Like, Mike Bennett doesn't get the credit he deserves for how selfless he is. I think that he is one of the best at letting there always be a story, even if the story is just the match. And that's a special thing. Not every wrestler can do that. That is something that is a seasoned veteran type thing. And he can do it in a lot of contexts. I've seen him in some really great hardcore death matches. I saw him in a pure match that was really good. And he's not somebody you're like, oh, when I think pure matches, I think Mike Bennett. Not at all, right? So he really is very versatile and very giving in his in-ring. Kyle Sparks, I was thinking about this feud not too long ago, that he was synonymous with the pile driver, and he and Steen feuded over the use of it. I remember that stretcher match. And I was thinking about that feud the other day. I forget why. Something on the Steen side came up. But some good stuff. Some really good stuff there. Matt Menard getting the win. So I also like, if your champions are going to lose, at least they're the ones that cost themselves. Like, they look kind of stupid here. Like, this isn't the best look for Matt Taven and Bennett, but I like it better than your opponent just outright beating you, because then you just look weak as hell, right? So some good stuff there. I just feel for the rest of this tag division, because what the hell are they working toward? But Feeling GP saying, I wish it was the ROH tag team Workhorsemen. I'm at least glad that there's now a feud over the tag titles on the show. It felt like years since the last. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And that wasn't even on ROH television. So at least we have a story that we're digging into. I am kind of wondering, like, where is Dalton Castle? The Righteous seem to be back and forth. I said this before too, I think it would be really fun if, like how Stokely Hathaway did Baddie Search, if there was like a boys search, if Dalton wanted to keep that as a part of his presentation. I don't think he needs it. He's so special on his own. But if he wanted to keep boys around, I think that would be a very fun thing to do. Like, the boys auditions could be super, super fun. But some good stuff. Some good stuff there. I do feel like you see other teams that are supposed to be here start to win, and then they're like, oh, these people don't have a lot to do on the main roster, and we're in their hometown or their home country or whatever for this run. So they're going to go down there. It's like, okay, 2.0 wasn't even a tag team for how long on the main roster? Like, Angela was involved in the Ruby storyline. Matt Menard was involved with Danny Garcia and doing commentary for the most part. So it's just hard for me to buy, because the incredible lack of consistency, or the incredible inconsistency, however you choose to view the world. Guys, we are coming down the home stretch on this one. Noticeable lack of women's wrestling on this show. We do get a fun women's segment coming up here, but we get our Minion Empowerment meeting saying Athena noting that Queen Aminata is after her again, and Bailey Stark saying that it's their show. And in a fun end to this, they both leave, and Lexi Nair's just standing there with the mic, and then they grab her hand, and she kind of comically gets pulled off screen, which was cute. So good stuff. Some good stuff there. That brings us to the main event, but before we get there, I am going to tell you about some of our friends, our good friends, our best friends. And I'll tell you what, if you want your night to be less boring than this, if you feel like you're not excited, if you're not like getting up and going, if you're not showing any signs on your body of excitement, if you're not horny for wrestling, Blue Chew's here.
Hello. Do you have a limp penis? A difficulty getting it erect? Boy, do I have a product for you. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL will help fix that. Blue Chew has the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know they work. But they work a lot faster because it's a chewable. It's also much more affordable. Use that promo code FIGHTFUL. Get your first shipment free. Just pay $5 shipping. One of the best parts, it's discreet. No awkward in-person doctor's visits. You don't have to go to the pharmacy. It's shipped straight to your door when approved by an online physician. You want to check this out. It will help you. It is a good product. It will make your sex life better. BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
What a creep. What a creep Sean is, just staring into your eyes, telling you about Blue Chew. But you won't be a creep with BlueChew.com. Code FIGHTFUL. We appreciate their support. We appreciate your support. We ask you to leave a thumbs up on this video. I like seeing the views go up instead of down. Makes me feel good as I'm doing a solo show for the first half of this. We will have Joel and Cresta talking some TNA/Impact, a good Speedball versus 7 match in there. I don't think the Dustin Rhodes gimmick 7. I think a different 7, but Jordynne Grace also defending her title tonight, I believe, if I read correctly. So stay tuned for that. Joel and Cresta, always a hoot. Cresta getting a new little TikTok job that I hope she tells you about on the main channel. Some good stuff happening in the world of the incredible Cresta as she moves into a new year. Also a May baby, just like me. So stick around for those two goofballs. But that brings us to our main event, which means we're also going to have like 15 minutes of Q&A at the back of this. So feel free to fire away with those questions. We appreciate the paid ones, but I'm going to be stranded here doing Mad Libs by myself if nobody else participates. So this main event was fun. You had Lee Johnson and Top Flight, the trios version. It's kind of like Taylor's version, like with all the Taylor Swift songs. It's trios version of Top Flight versus the premier athletes, this being Tony Nese and Ariya Daivari, Where the Hell is Josh Woods continues, and Cole Carter and Griff Garrison. So this was fun. This was everybody had a chance to shine kind of match. Darius with some really nice wrist control early in this. Shotty Lee had an incredible drop kick, which turned into one from Cole Carter. Shotty Lee also with some really nice headlocks, just really snug, nice headlock takeover in this early too. I think opening the match. Dante stealing the I Heart Mom shirt was the most I've liked the I Heart Hot Mom shirt. Ian Riccaboni, of course, shouting out his wife as a hot mom. Just classic husband father stuff. That's what you love to see. That's what you love to get on Ring of Honor. But you get Johnson trying to get him for the hot tag, but Nese tagging in and cutting him off. But Serpentico at the end of this distracting with the chair, and Garrison getting hit with a nasty half Nelson bomb from Dante that looked so good. This was fun. It was meaningless, but it was a fun match. That's kind of how ROH goes. This was a multi-man match with no real stakes in it. It furthered the story at the end, but you have 8 guys in there and the story's not between any of them. So I don't know. It was a fun main, though. It's always fun in-ring. Never have a complaint about the in-ring. 3 squashes isn't great, especially when this was like a women's wrestling-centric brand, and this, you got Nyla squashing an indie wrestler. No offense to Rhea Von Slasher, best name in the game. And they did great with what they were given, but no other women's matches on this feels lame, especially when you have 2 champions. You have Athena and you have Billy Starks. Great way to build out a new title, guys. Like, one promo, neither of them wrestling. Now, Athena, we know, looked like she suffered an injury. Here's what I don't know, and that's pretty much anything. But wrestling math tells you that if she's still giving this promo, she's probably okay, that she's not going to be out for too long. And I believe there was an announcement of an independent match in mid-June. That was like June 15th or something, only a couple weeks away. So I'm hoping that means she's all right and she just tweaked it because it did not look good. Sean does not have an update on that yet. I think he was hoping to get something today or tomorrow, but we will see because he'll be Mr. Big Time at the single A baseball game throwing out a first pitch tomorrow, thanks to yours truly. But I will continue to ask. Matthew Hook's asking if I know if they have any plans to actually fix ROH, or is this the way they want it to be? I asked and I got 0 response. Not a yes, not a no, just nothing. So I don't know. I don't know. I tried to ask. I will continue to ask. Because I can't imagine talent is happy about this either. Like it's just a meaningless product. Hey, I'm just genuinely curious. Like, why are you watching a wrestling post show if you don't like wrestling? Because that seems like a waste of your fucking life. We're gonna ban him. I'll give him a second to answer his question. But if you don't like wrestling and you tune in for a wrestling post show, you're probably a huge nerd. Like, just have no life. Because why are you wasting your time? I can't answer questions like this. Reg isn't here anymore. SP3 probably can when he's back around, but I'm not calling it this. What is this tag division? Too much squash, not enough meat. The show needs Pulowski booking it. Look, I would love Pulowski booking a wrestling program in general. I don't know if there would be anything funnier than him having to book NXT, but that's just me. All right, we're going to ban this loser. Bye. Just weird. You know what I will appreciate, though? He hated everything. He wasn't like, you're an AEW homer. You love WWE. Wah, wah, wah. Women's division, stopwatch, chicken tenders, wah, wah, wah. No. That guy was like, wrestling sucks across the board. So I appreciate that. At least he wasn't tribalistic. He just was wasting his time in general. And that's a next level commitment. That's a next level commitment. Oh, man. I mean, why did we think the women's TV title would be treated any different than any of the other ROH titles? You got me. I think because women's wrestling was the thing that was thriving on here, right? And the past couple weeks, it hasn't seemed that way as much. We got some good stuff with Rachel Ellering. We had an amazing match with Athena and Nicole Matthews. But, like, there's... What's happening in the division? Who's challenging Billy Starks? Who's challenging Athena? Eating a frozen strawberry to clear my throat. Excuse me. It seems like Queen Aminata, but like, why isn't she having matches then? Why isn't she squashing people? Why aren't she in Red Velvet wrestling? Beats me. Who's coming after Billy? We just got this new title. We have no contenders. I'm assuming Red Velvet is getting a title shot, but what happened to Layla Hirsch? What happened to anybody else in that tournament? What about Taya Valkyrie? Beats me. Where the hell's Dalton Castle? Beats me. Beats me. Kate is hopelessly optimistic about ROH. Like we are. Just holding out hope. I will never turn down a chance to get paid to talk about wrestling. Never mind when it's been a brand that's one of my favorites. I just won't. Even bad wrestling, even formulaic wrestling, like it's still wrestling. I'm the opposite of that guy who we just blocked from here. Like if it's wrestling, I love it. Like so that's where I'm at. I am wondering if today's episode had to do with Athena maybe being injured or not knowing what her status was. So that might have been why we got less stuff going on there. But I agree. Hey, our friends at Perio Magazine. I hope I'm saying that right. I know I'm not saying it right because I'm not Australian, so I don't have the cool accent to go along with it. But saying sad how much ROH has lost direction. It is. It really, really is. But what's not sad is what's going on over there. Follow Jamie Apps and Perio Magazine, please. I got interviewed by Jamie. He's awesome. I've tried to scale back interviews and guest appearances as much as I can because I do 8 shows a week already. But there are people that I will always make time for, and JB is one of them. Fantastically knowledgeable about the Australian scene, which you guys probably know by now. I've become more and more passionate about, but we got to talk about Delta Brady, who looks like she is probably going to WWE. We got to talk about the Velocities. I'm coming after Tuckman, all right? I see him talking ass about the Velocities right after he got his butt kicked by Robbie Eagles. Thank you very much. So, oh man, feel free to ask some questions because normally when I have a co-host, I play Mad Libs, but I don't have a co-host today. You have TNA on while listening to Taker and Mark Henry's podcast. Just learned of Joe Hendry this past week. Decided to watch TNA to see him and he wasn't on. You need to find out more about Joe Hendry. I'll just put it that way. That guy is so awesome. He's been doing this for years. I love how recently it's just kind of like come into full effect with him and he's picking up some real momentum. The character is extremely fun, but he's a hard-hitting son of a bitch in the ring too. Like don't let it fool you. Don't let it fool you. Look at the good side, Kate. Your hair looks great. Well, thank you so much. I'm getting it done next week. I'm very excited. Maybe we will play Mad Libs with the chat. That could be fun. But get in any questions you have for me about wrestling. We'll do a little bit of that. Dude, I've been down on Joe Hendry rabbit hole. I have a friend who is a lapsed wrestling fan, doesn't really watch anymore, who's obsessed with Joe Hendry. Like, doesn't watch AEW, doesn't watch WWE outside of pay-per-views. And he just was like, I've watched every Joe Hendry song that there is out there. Like, he's so in on it. He was like messaging me. I hear from him like sporadically. He was messaging me like, we got to get this guy to #1 on iTunes. He was so in. I loved it. I loved so much of it. But so what's frustrating is I heard that this is the case. I have a hard time believing it still is, but I had heard it had been designated to somebody else with TK still making final decisions. Doesn't feel that way anymore. Does not feel that way anymore. How can ROH be fixed? They need a separate booking team. So I'd heard that. I heard they had a separate booking team, but Tony was still making final decisions. They need to separate rosters. They need a clear sense of who is on what rosters and what divisions they're in. They need Wheeler Yuta to relinquish the pure title. It has zapped so much energy out of this for me that we don't have pure wrestling. And not just because I'm a pure nerd, but it's something different. It's something special. It's something completely fresh that everything else is going on because of the stipulations, right? I feel that way about the Heritage Cup on NXT as well. So I am wildly frustrated by the fact that when Top Flight is here, I'm like, are you a tag team or are you a trio? Today they were in an 8-man match. They need consistency with who's on. Dalton Castle needs to be on TV. They should probably have belted him up a while ago. They need their champions around. It's incredibly simple stuff. It really is. It's like have your champions around. We haven't seen Mark Briscoe since he's won the title, I don't think. Have your champs around, have them wrestling. That's it. Have people getting wins, challenge for those titles instead of shooting people down from the main roster around pay-per-view times. It sucks. It sucks. Does anything know? I don't know this. Him and Megan Bayne just like not booked this week. Okay. Megan Bayne and Camille, I heard there'd been plans of. Megan Bayne, I heard more specifically what there'd been plans of. Camille, I heard there was a plan, but I don't know what the plan is or what the timing is. But Megan Bayne, I'd heard things about. So I think that's probably good. I don't know about EJ though at all. I mean, it's also very frustrating because, like we talked about before, Brian Keith, right? Like, incredible talent, had great showing in ROH, had a great showing in AEW. Now he's just taking double submissions and has not been in a story since he got here. I don't know. Megan Bayne, that looks amazing. She does. She's getting better and better with every rep, too. This is what I heard was the case. It doesn't feel that way as of now. It does not feel that way as of now. I need to see Mustafa Ali on my TV. He is still going by Mustafa Ali. He is. He did some New Japan work. He's been in TNA. He has been all over the indies. He's like 38-0. He's awesome. Always Team Mustafa. I really am, kind of ironically, like a huge fan of everybody that was in Retribution while I hated that stable. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about two things. That was a good looking group of people. They put them all behind masks. And then when they unveiled their masks, they still had masks on. But like, those were good looking dudes and gals and gal. And then someone who was there for a week as a gal and then like left again because she was like, I'm not doing that. And they're all great. Like, Dijak is great. You guys know how I feel about Shane Haste. You guys know how I feel about Mustafa. Brennan is great. Or Mason is great. I love that him and Mansoor are starting to get their due on the indies a little bit. But yeah. That whole faction was really good, and they completely booted it. Oh, man. No to this. Just a big no. No Jeff Jarrett in ROH at all. Under any circumstances. At all. Not one bad member. That's what I'm saying. I think Mercedes Martinez was there for like a minute. If I'm right about this. I think Mercedes Martinez was there for literally 2 weeks and then went back down to NXT and was like, I'm not doing that shit. It's so funny that, like, I spent way too much mental energy on Retribution the other day because it was like every single one of them has charisma. Every single one of them can go. Most of them have some size on them. Like, Mason is huge. And Shane's like 6'4", 6'5", I think. And like Dijak is what, 6'8" or something nuts. I saw Dijak on the street at WrestleCon and was just like, whoa, that dude is tall. I just said ratio and then we kept walking. But man, it's that was one of the biggest swings and misses. But I'll forever be, I think, one of my favorite replies I ever got. I have no desire to get into scoops at all. That is a Sean Ross Sapp game. I will ride his coattails happily. I'm good. But one of my favorite replies I ever got was I had retweeted something Ronda Rousey had said about Bruce Pritchard. And I had said, I'm not a big Ronda Rousey gal. Disagree with a lot of her viewpoints, but I don't think we should dismiss her entire experience. And she had some things to say about Bruce Pritchard. And then Shane Hayes dropped in my replies and said he legitimately thought Slapjack was like a cool, badass name. And that is one of my favorite interactions I've ever had. Because I just assumed that they thought it was sarcastic. And Shane was like, no, they thought it was legit a badass name. I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Oh no, they thought that sincerely. I thought they were being tongue-in-cheek about it. Nope. Man. Yeah, but okay, it was Mercedes Martinez. I thought so. She was like, I'm gonna go fight Rhea Ripley in a cage instead. I'm out of here. Pandemic. This came up the other day. Pandemic era WWE was really bad. I don't know if it was worse than 2019. I was trying to think about that too. Of at least in the pandemic, they were forced to try stuff. So it was bad, but at least you were like, they're crashing and burning at least, but it's kind of fun to watch because it's like, what the hell is this? But 2019 was just regular, really, really bad wrestling. This could not be more true. Give me vegan ice cream as my scoops. I'd want no part of the scoops game. I like hear things all the time. I have no interest in reporting it. I have no interest in telling Sean it. That guy does not need my help. Like, I like talking to the wrestlers I like to talk to. I have no interest in reporting any news. If they want to get a hold of Sean, they know how to do it. Doesn't have to be through me, but no, unless I'm specifically asked, or if somebody like needs me to pass along information. Other than that, no, thank you. Not in the scoops game. Sean needs help, just not in that way. Truer words, my friend, have never been said, all right? Talking all that shit about me yesterday, putting over Tom Campbell. What are we doing? After all the things that I've done for that man. I secured him a single A throwing out the first pitch appearance. What could be better or more valuable than that? A lot of things, but still. Sincerely, Sean is incredibly good at showing gratitude. I feel very, very valued here. It makes me very happy. I always say, like, I don't care enough about wrestling podcasting to work in an environment where I didn't feel respected and valued. And I do by Sean and by Jimmy and all my peers, which is really cool. There's not a single one that I'm like, I would not want to hop on a stream with that person for any reason. I'm a lucky gal. Blessed gal, because I've earned some of that shit. I've earned some of that. I put my work in. But man. There's a comment that I can't pull up, but very funny, be enormous. What about Joel? Nobody tell him. This is between you and the over 1,000 people that will end up watching this. Nobody tell Joel. But he's great. It's between us. Joel is great. The reason I say Joel is great on Thursdays is because he does all of the post-production. I just have to set up the stream, so I don't have to pull any of the audio. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to upload the thumbnail. So on Thursdays, Joel is great because he does all the work. I still set it up. I still article it. I still do all of that, but he does everything so that I'm actually out of here by 10:10 and I don't have to come back and do anything. That's what happens when you're the show that goes on the second half, right? Now, this is some bullshit because Joel has had his title like as long as Roman Reigns had his, and he has never defended it, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I think the title is actually at Jimmy Van's office. It has nothing to do with that at all, I think. I will challenge for it when I come to Toronto, though. I don't know when. I don't know what the stipulation will be. But I'll be taking that title back across the border, baby. I'll be taking it through the security, through customs. Be showing them my passport, my Fightful Gold. That's what I'll be doing. So. But yeah, we've got a good little team here. Good little team. Not little anymore. We got 40 people, which rules. A Fightful Overbooked Championship. That would be fun because I would be infringing on his territory. Like, I don't even really do a ton on Overbooked, but that would be good. Hey, let me know if you guys like this idea because we did a couple of them on Overbooked and they did numbers, and I'm thinking about making it a series. We did I think 2 times where we revisited a feud that was being circled back to. So, like when Punk faced Samoa Joe in AEW, we did a rewatch of I think their second match. And when Sasha debuted in New Japan, we watched her and Bailey, even though that wasn't like revisiting the feud. But it was Mercedes' big moment after that. So we watched Sasha and Bailey at NXT. I think it could be cool. Like revisiting one chapter in an ongoing feud. Like I'm sure Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will face each other again. We could go back and pick one of those, right? It'd be fun, right? I think it would be cool. Hey, Sifa. Thank you. Thank you for visiting. Thank you for stopping by. We're doing some Q&A because it was a 55-minute episode and I'm talking to myself. So kind of a Wrestle Club type thing. We did it like as a watch along, which was really fun. You can go check them out if you want to know what the hell I'm talking about. But it was fun. It was like I did some research around Samoa Joe and Punk especially to kind of like summarize what the feud was. And then we picked one of their matches to watch. And it was like the day before. It was probably the day before All In. Or or I think it was the TV one where Punk won with the flash pin. But ooh. I like this. Especially with the potential of Nigel and Bryan match coming up. I don't think that's happening where and when people think it's happening. I think Danielson is going to be too actively involved and creative down the stretch. But because of that, and I know I'm like ZSJ stan girl, I think you should do Nigel and ZSJ at Wembley. I think both those guys deserve it. I think Zach got screwed for not being on the card last year. I think if Danielson is in something that is more active AEW creative, you do that. You put ZSJ and Nigel on the card, and then you do Danielson, Nigel at Wrestle Dream in Seattle, is what I'm thinking. Not scoops. I hate scoops. But just suspicions. Just like the way he's been used. And I think what he wants to accomplish. Like I don't know if the best value of Bryan Danielson down this stretch is having him in a novelty match that you can do at another time at another place. You could do it at the next All In just as a dream match because he's going to be still part-time or whatever. So that's just me. But I think it was really dumb that Zach wasn't on the card last year. And you saw the pop that Ospreay got, and I know Ospreay's on another level, mate, bruv. But like Zach deserved that. It felt like a noticeable absence for sure. But we've got some TNA love in the house. Both signing on at like the same time, unless I just didn't see them there, which I apologize for. But let me get rid of my frame, and I will bring on the TNA crew. Thanks for keeping me occupied in the chat, guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for getting those super chats as well. We're gonna bring Joel and Cresta on though.
Hello,
TNA. What's up,
how
guys?
we doing?
We're doing all right.
Hello. What's going on with Ring of Honor? What's happening here? Kate, why are you by yourself? Who do I have to call?
Well, I'm very excited because in the beginning of June, SP3 is going to start with us. So he will be my ROH co-host, which I'm extremely excited about. And we'll have one more guest host next week, which I'm very excited. But I was going to grab someone for today, and I was like, you know what? I'll just go solo. Sometimes it's fun. I'm talky anyway.
I love that. Hi, everybody.
Hi, beautiful. How are you?
How did you do the show tonight? It was like an hour-long show. How did you stretch that out an hour?
It was like 45 minutes, and then we did just some Q&A, just some chit-chat, just some hanging out. I was going to do Mad Libs with the chat, but you guys got here in time, so.
Chat libs.
Chat libs. How are you? How was TNA tonight?
It's good.
I was very sports entertained. I was thoroughly entertained, but also I've completely demuggled, and today was my first day as a wizard, so I'm happy to be watching wrestling again. I haven't really watched wrestling in like 2 months for real, besides TNA, and today was the first time I actually got to enjoy wrestling. Only thing I didn't enjoy, I don't want to see PCO and Steph DeLanda get married. I don't want to see that. I thought I did. I thought I could convince myself. I can't. I cannot. I'm sorry. I tried. I'm sorry. I'm a negative Nancy. It's me. You found me.
It's going to be the best Slammiversary wedding you've ever attended, and you will like it. And if you don't, I will tell TNA and all of their stars that you specifically did not like it. Just you.
That
That's
Cresta
fine.
does not love.
That's
Cresta,
right.
Oh, wow.
beautiful.
Cresta's bitter.
You look extra beautiful today, Cresta. Look
So
at
like I
you.
said, I do have a wizard job. So now I'm doing on-camera work. Like literally it was a meme, but I'm literally like QVC Cresta. I'm doing TikTok selling stuff. It's really cute.
That's so cool. I'm so happy for you.
I'm happy for myself too, because girl, I don't want to be a mug. I'm a wizard, Harry. I'm a wizard.
You are. Tell people where they can find you on TikTok so that they can join in and buy stuff.
I can't say yet because we're still in the trial phase. But
Oh,
once I
okay.
But if you happen to find me, you know, I can't stop you. But if you happen to find me,
Joel, do the pointy gimmick to her handle.
I'm trying to load up the Humper chats.
You're trying to load up the humpies.
Yeah, someone's got to do it.
It is Montreal week. No, he's not from Montreal. He's just Canadian. I'm sorry, Joel.
It's all Canada.
The TNA Montreal week thing makes zero sense. They're doing a bunch of giveaways for a show that's happening in July, and like none of it has anything to do with being in Montreal. It's not like we're going to local venues and doing. PCO did a thing at TSN 690, whatever the local TSN affiliate, which is like ESPN. Shout out to Erica. Oh my God, what's her disco death? Anyway, go check her out on whatever. She was there. PCO did a TSN thing today for them, and then they did a press pass. Her and PCO and Speedball.
Doing little giveaways. They must have put together a heck of a pitch deck for that. But I will get out of here and let you guys talk some TNA Impact. Cresta, you look great. Joel, you're also here. Have a wonderful show.
What a heel. What a heel.
I just saw myself and I do not look greasy.
No, stop. I said nice things about you earlier. I had to even it out. It made me itchy. So
that's fine. Montreal, by the way, Montreal is lovely in July. So is Toronto. So I will be in Montreal for Slammiversary.
Have fun and ride there in style.
I wouldn't go that far. Bye. Hi, Cresta.
I love Kate. Hi, Joel. How are you?
I'm okay. Just working on some stuff. How are you doing?
I have been out here in these independent wrestling streets. I went to Invictus Pro Wrestling like 2 weeks ago. That was really cute. Or was it a week ago? I can't remember. It was really cute. I'm going to House of Glory tomorrow. I'm really out here throwing myself back in these wrestling streets. I'm having a great time. How about you? How are you tonight, Joel?
I'm good. You know, TNA was good tonight. Not enough close-ups of our friend Sean Ross Sapp, who was in attendance. No, he went to, did he go to both nights? He definitely went to one of the 2 nights. Still, not enough Sean Ross Sapp on my screen tonight at TNA. What are we doing?
I didn't even know he was there.
Oh, he was
Wow.
there.
What is Sean Ross Sapp doing in the Impact Zone? That's crazy.
Well, you remember when he was literally all over that one Slammiversary.
I actually don't. I'm such a jabroni. I didn't even know like they would even show us. I'm like, aren't we like shunned?
I mean, they basically put him in the front row, and he was like, please don't put me in the front row. And they put him in the front row, and then they kept cutting to shots of him in the front row. Like, I don't know how you are at wrestling shows, but like Sean and myself, I can speak for both of us in this case. We're not like big fan reactors in the audience. I'm there to work, and I'm there to cover, and I'm taking notes, and I'm watching the show, and like I'm taking it in my own way. And like, don't put me in the front row. I've told them, I'm like, put me in the back, put me somewhere, away from everyone. And normally they do. And I guess when they did it with Sean, they just kind of trolled him and put him in front.
I mean, when I go to shows, it depends. When I go to AEW shows, if I know I'm doing a scrum, I want to start paying attention. I try to like pay attention to the matches and take notes if I'm going to do the scrum. But I won't hold you. I made Cresta star of the brand in wrestling, being a wrestling reacts girl. So if the more the alcohol increases, the louder I become. And at some point, half the time, I'm just like, I don't care about these notes. Fuck him up. Beat him up. That's me. I'm the guy yelling. I'm starting the chants. I'm booing the loudest. I am a fan first. I love wrestling. Covering it is cool, but I am such a fan first. So that's going to be me. Don't put me in the front because you're going to get a reaction. It might not be the one you want, but don't put me in the front.
I get it. Listen, 2017, TNA is acquired by a Canadian company. And the next thing I do is I go and I'm sitting front row of the show. But if you see that metal truss behind us, that's hard cam. So you can't see my face all night. We just got the shot. That's it. And this was before I was doing the wrestling stuff.
I mean, he's a fan, ladies and gentlemen. Authenticity. Joel Pearl coming to the stage.
I'm a fan first. Don't get me wrong. But like, I'm a fan. Now I'm a professional. A professional what? Couldn't tell you. But I'm
same. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I just close my eyes and pray.
Anyway, you ready to pray that we get through this show in one piece?
Honestly, I think we'll be all right. Let's do the damn thing, as the Utes say.
All right, here we go in a 1 and a 2. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com. It is May 23rd, 2024. It's time for your TNA Impact post show. I am at Joel Pearl, and of course, with me is the wizard herself, the one and only Cresta, QVC star. How you doing, Cresta?
Don't cry for me, Fightful faithful. I'm kidding. I don't know why I did that. I'm doing well. I had a great time tonight watching wrestling. TNA was really good tonight, and I have positive things to say about Steve Maclin. Ooh. Nothing but positive critiques. This tweener thing he got going on, I always say that all it takes is one gimmick before you change your mind. And now my mind has changed. Why he beat those boys up like that? This is good stuff. Good stuff, pal.
If you're listening, tag Steve Maclin. He's at Steve Maclin on Twitter. Just tag him and say, Steve, we have one for you. We have a fan, and you need to see this, and you need to hear this, and you need to understand that everything that started with the beef, with everything, started with this woman next to me, and now she's gonna walk it back, and it's only taken her 2 years, starting of third.
Okay, to be fair, all right, I don't even remember saying that, but just because you don't remember saying it, there's probably video evidence. We can throw the videotape back when they do the highlight reel of this. And, in true wrestling fan fashion, I am a flip-flop. Fickle. I put my foot up, my flip-flop goes up, and it goes down, my flip-flop goes down. So listen, it wasn't connecting for me before, and now this is fantastic. So you know what? I don't care. This is great. I don't care. I'm a hypocrite. I don't care. I love Steve Macklin now. He's great. The greatest wrestler in my top 10. Love Steve Macklin.
Good Lord. Well, if you love us, go ahead and leave a thumbs up on the video. And of course, subscribe to us here at youtube.com/Fightful. And while you are at it, do me a favor. If you're listening to us on the audio platforms, leave a 5-star review. Any 5-star reviews help us immensely because then we get catapulted up those search engine results. And therefore, more people find us, and therefore, more people let you guys know that this is something you want to hear. So 5-star reviews go a long way. If you want to support us financially, you can leave a super chat or you can donate a Humper Chat at humperchats.com. Cresta will tell you how, when, why, where.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, you take your fingers and you type on your finger or your keyboard, humperchats.com. You put in your comment amount. You swear to God, I talk all day. You put in your comment. We will read it. You put in a dollar amount. We will keep a lot more of it. It keeps us happy. It keeps Sean happy. Go to humperchats.com. Pow, pow, pow. Sexy Red's going to be on NXT next week. So, anything's possible. Maybe Sexy Red will show up in the Impact Zone and we'll talk about it. Humperchats.com.
I don't think Sexy Red's going to show up in the Impact Zone.
I mean, I'll settle for a
Choclair.
I don't know who are the youths listening to nowadays. I don't know.
I don't know. Me for
not two old people looking at each other like I don't know. I watch wrestling.
Chat will let us in. I don't know. Someone will say something that'll make sense. Anyway, listen, overall tonight, I think tonight was a very fun episode of Impact. Not only that, we're on the way to Against All Odds. It's in about 3 weeks' time. And we're starting to see matches come together. Matches that you and I have talked about. Matches that make perfect sense as we move towards Slammiversary, the next big pay-per-view. But they're really building Against All Odds to be a good show, a big show. And I think they're expecting a really successful night. What do you think overall of Impact tonight?
Like I had said before we crossed over for you audio listeners, I had a thoroughly good time watching Impact tonight. I'm still like no PCO, no Steph DeLanda. There's got to be something else. But I also feel like you're saying that now, Cresta, and every time you said that about something, TNA Sports entertains you, and then you have to eat your words, which are delicious. That's why I try to keep them soft and sweet.
And that's why we do this show. Usually in about an hour, sometimes less, depending on how we feel. But anyway, I think we'll do pretty well tonight because there's lots of meat on these bones. Let's open up. Ryan Nemeth and Matt Hardy defeat the System. Brian Myers and Edward Edwards are also at ringside together. Lish is there. I love that Lish is just a title belt. Lish is just an extra title belt to come out. And you know what? The match is fine. It's non-title. The TNA tag titles are not on the line. First thing I noticed is Hardcam is back to facing the stage for the tapings. Not my favorite, but we'll get over it. That's just a virtue of the venue you have. But yeah, the match itself is fine. But really the story here is that Hardy and Nemeth win. And then as Moose comes in and beats down Matt Hardy and the System are beating down both Ryan Nemeth and Matt Hardy, Nick Nemeth makes the save. That's the big return. Leaps over the top rope, and that's how I realized that they also had the elevated stage tonight, because otherwise I was like, wow, hell of a vertical leap on Nick Nemeth. No, it just turns out he's got a good vertical leap from the ring apron. Anyway, listen, solid match. Let's talk about it. And of course, Nemeth's return. Talk to me.
Did thoroughly enjoy this match. I will say, I feel like this is the first time I've seen Ryan Nemeth, wrestle. And I thought it was fine. It was a great match. Him and Hardy actually have a lot of chemistry. I think it was kind of foreshadowed that the System were going to lose. And this wraps back into what we were talking about, how there's such a team to hate. You don't feel bad. They could lose a million times. You're like, oh, they're still champion. These guys, heck those guys. They're such a good heel stable. I got to say that there was a clean-looking suplex on Nemeth from Brian Myers at the start of this match. It seemed like almost, and also Matt Hardy biting people. You've been in the Impact Zone for 3 episodes. We're already biting people. Stop hanging out with Crazy Steve backstage. Don't bite people here. It was good. I do like how they explained in the post-match that Matt Hardy's like, listen, that's cool that you want to give me a title shot, but I didn't come here to be tag titled. I came here to be the champion of the world, or however he says in his vocabulary. Ray Walt was cooking him tonight. Ray Walt was sitting next to Nigel McGuinness this week, and I'll tell you that. I like how he said, okay, that's fine. And Ryan Nemeth and Nick Nemeth was like, bro, this was going to happen anyway. So let's load it up. Let's win these tag titles. And I like that. I like that for both of them. I do. What did you think about it?
The match itself was fine. If there's one thing that Matt Hardy's going to do well, it's team with the little brother and a brother pair. And he did that quite well with Ryan Nemeth tonight. It was fine. And again, Hardy, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't think anyone expected Matt Hardy to come back to TNA to be the top ranked number one guy, but we all expected him to have a world title program, and that's fine. Ryan Nemeth coming in has been the more surprising addition, and it's of course, it's paid per appearance. He's not doing a huge contract or anything like that. Nick Nemeth is still with TNA for a little bit. So what do? You have the brothers pair off. You don't need to rush the world title match. I think that they're going to do Nemeth and Moose 2 at Slammiversary. I've talked about this before. It makes perfect sense. And that's the coronation of Nick Nemeth as champion. And we'll see if there's anything else at play there. But regardless, it makes Nick Nemeth look good, and it makes Matt Hardy look strong. It's fine. It's gonna be a good all around card for Against All Odds, and that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. It's not going to be one or two top matches. It's going to be almost every match has something of value in it, both in storytelling and in production and in presentation. So that's fine. But overall, again, solid match. These guys all know how to work, and I'm looking forward to the stuff that's coming out of it.
I would not hate the Nemeth brothers being tag champions. I'm trying to think of who else would be like a good replacement for them. I mean, like, you got the Rascals, Grizzled Young Veterans are gone. You've got.
So this is another thing. We're going to talk about it very shortly.
Oh, wait.
TNA. No. It's actually the fact that TNA needs replacements and replenishment in their tag division. And we saw a tag team come in tonight for the first time that have absolutely the ability to add depth to a roster that needs more, because you can't just rely on Speedball Mountain, ABC, and the Rascals to do everything. You need to start building your future tag teams, and you can't just throw people together, and the Diener somethings are only going to go so far as well. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but there's a need for fresh tag teams in TNA.
Yeah, because we haven't even seen Motor City Machine Guns for a while either. So you don't even have like veterans. Oh.
Contract's done. They're done. They've left. They're moved on. That's it.
It's a sad day for Cresta Star in particular. I just got here. Come back.
Lady, they've been gone for a month.
I know, but I'm thinking like, okay, maybe they're just like vacation. They've done a lot. But they're gone. I'm like, I know I just got to TNA. Y'all been in TNA for 20 years, but run the block, spin the block real quick. I just got here. You guys are some fine tag team wrestlers.
Yeah, they finished up at the beginning of April. That was the end of their contract with TNA. You know what? Alex Shelley is actually working in Toronto tonight at the Demand Lucha. So I thought about going and taking the night off, but instead I'm here with you, wonderful, beautiful people. Speaking of beautiful people, Gia Miller's backstage with Ace of Base, and she is stirring the pot.
Yo, she was a menace tonight.
Absolutely.
Interestingly enough, not to Jordynne Grace, but she was a menace tonight.
Well, she knows who kick her ass. Anyway, she's stirring the pot with Ace of Base, mentions, you guys aren't on the same page. And Chris Bay is like, families fight, but we get on the same page and there's no tension. And then Gia's like, you sure about that? And Ace is just like, hold on, maybe we're not actually on the same page. Maybe we should have a match next week because it's working for Speedball Mountain to get back on the same page and sync up. So let's do that. And that's what they're going to do next week. Sure, why not? I don't mind the idea of having Ace of Base face off against each other, because individually they're so friggin' good. As a tag team, they're so friggin' good. Let them go at it. Let them have a friendly fire.
I just wonder if this leads to a breakup, or if this leads to them getting back together, since we just spoke about their tag team division needing a little bit more depth, or leading just a little bit more, not a little bit, I think they need a lot more tag teams, in my opinion, on the men and the women's side. So I wonder if this will exercise those demons and they can refocus it, because they already started that we're going to break up, will they, won't they storyline. This could be a way to resolve it and move forward, unless they break them up, which I wouldn't exactly hate because I think these two still have so much potential to do in Impact, TNA. You know what I mean? I would like to see a Chris Bay world title run. I would love to see an Ace Austin, at least X Division cash in on somebody. You know what I mean? I would love to see something like that for the both of these gentlemen. And I think there's more for them to do, but also would like to see them as tag champions again if they want to be tag champions, you know?
Listen, just like a Fast and the Furious special, this episode was all about family and tag teams and breakups and splits and getting back together. And that's what this all was tonight. This was just one of those bumps in the road. So we'll find out how that plays out. Rascals take on the team of Saint and Sinner. That's Judas Icarus and Travis Williams. They are the two that I was alluding to earlier. They are ones to watch. They are from Vancouver. They trained with Josh Alexander, by Josh Alexander, but they're West Coast indie guys. They have worked a lot of the big indies, especially Canada and the western coast of the United States and all that. They are the two that I think could revitalize the tag team division. And if they're not already getting one, they deserve a serious look and maybe an offer. They don't win the match. Obviously, Rascals win with the super kick stomp combo, but they give it their all, and it looks like a very strong debut on TV for these two. What do you think of Saint and Sinner's debut with TNA Wrestling?
I'm not going to hold you. My immediate thought was, dang, they already in the ring. Time to do the job. I was so surprised. And I will always give this to TNA because they did this with Kevin Knight with me. They did this with oh my God, I can't think of his name, but his face. Something Price. Kevin Price? Is that Kevin Price? I feel like there's Kevin Knight, Kevin Price. Yeah, it could be. Jack Price. Jack Price. That's who it is. That's
you
who it is.
You won gut check, right? I was thinking of Alex Price.
There's so many prices. The price is right. We're gonna pick one of them.
That's right. Well, we went wrong, but here we are. We got it right eventually.
And these guys were really, really good. Judas was really getting in a lot of offense. And I'll even take it one step further that the Rascals kind of got their ass beat until the end. Like, they got a lot of offense in. And I agree that these are two men that I would definitely sign, keep them away from Decay. Keep them away from Crazy Steve. I think that there's a good spooky tweener there that doesn't have to be that far down. I'm here for it. I want them to wrestle more. They're giving me what I need, and they're just not, I don't want to say that the tag teams have gotten stale because that's not the word I'm looking for. But I feel like this is enough chaotic energy to add to the group where it's like, oh, okay, so we really got to be on our P's and Q's. These guys ain't the good hands. Oh, sorry, good hands. But you know your role. You know your role, good hands. Your good hands. Stop it. Even Ali fired you. Stop it.
Hey, man, they're trying.
I mean, it could be worse. Joe Hendry could write a song about you getting fired.
After the match, Steve Macklin attacks the Rascals, hits them both with caught in the crosshairs. They're using a new top-down entrance shot, which I don't hate. I actually think it's kind of nice that when production tries a few new things, but, Macklin goes back through the curtain. GM Miller meets up with him and says, what was that all about? Is this payback? Are you done with the Rascals? And he's like, yep, that's it. Finish my business. And he calls out Mike.
Again.
Well, you know what? At least this time it makes sense because Macklin just kind of showed up. Last time Gio was just like, hey, you hate your tag team partner? You want to fight? You on the same page?
That's true. Say, hey, don't you hate this guy? Oh, that's your brother? My fault. But yeah, last week you slapped him.
Yeah. You gonna fight pussies? Huh?
I can somehow hear her saying that in her accent. Like, you guys gonna fight, you pussies?
I'm here for it. Gia, blink twice if you're going to do it down the road. Anyway, Santana gets called out by Macklin. Santana runs out, says, let's do it next week. And I'm thinking, hell yeah, that was a great match at Rebellion. Let's run it back. Macklin, Santana. By the way, Mike Santana is going to be on In the Weeds tomorrow morning on Fightful Overbooked. That was just announced. So 11 a.m. Eastern is the plan. He's going to be joining us to talk about House of Glory. We'll talk about TNA, of course, and a lot of other stuff. Last time Santana was on, I am not kidding you, he made myself and Jeremy Lambert cry and himself on camera. So that's the kind of interview you get with Mike Santana, and he'll be joining us on Fightful Overbooked Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Go check that out. Looking forward to the match. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Macklin and Santana. Are you looking forward to it?
Yes, and Again, let's go back to me being a flip-flopper. I'll say it again. Macklin is good in this tweener role. I'm not even mad. He beat those little boys up, and they deserve a spanking because these are backyardigans. They're so bad. The rascals are literally rascals. They're so bad. This between him and Mike Santana, there's a chemistry there. And I've had the pleasure of seeing Mike Santana at House of Glory a bunch of times. This man, you could tell he loves wrestling. You can tell he loves wrestling from the promos he cut, and even like when Joe was talking about the interview they did before, even when they did the interviews on him, I was totally like, oh my God, that's so real. Like, I can't wait. This match is going to be good. I think for me, personally, just me, I think this is a good stride for Macklin. I love what he's doing here. This is good shit, pal. Such good. I was sports entertained. I don't know what's going to transpire next week. I see a DQ in my future. I see the Rascals saying it's not going down like that. And Santana and Macklin begrudgingly tagging together to deal with these bad little kids. They need a spanking that are up in the treehouse smoking the devil's lettuce.
I don't like it, but I understand the reason to do it. So you know what?
Stretch it out to have a match at Slammiversary, which I wouldn't be. Against all odds, I wouldn't be mad at that. Just have a feud because the Rascals ain't gonna let that man get them for free. Yeah, it was a receipt, but these are bad little kids.
That's fair. I can see it happening. I'm still of the mindset, and as we transition into the next segment, I still think we're looking at a King of the Mountain match because Kazarian randomly they show him berating Jade Chung. Josh Alexander's not happy about that on socials. Security walks him off. Kaz grabs the microphone and says, "Going of my own volition," and he walks off, and that brings out Cody Deaner.
That's brave, yelling at Josh Alexander's wife like that. Because that's my note. That's a brave. You know that's Josh Alexander's wife, right?
But he knows Josh isn't there, so what does it matter? But really, like, here's the real thing. Cresta, I am a stickler for continuity. You know that, right?
Are you going to talk about Jade's outfit?
I want to talk about Jade's outfit.
Because I peeped that. I'm like, did she do a costume change? I'm not mad.
No, they just taped over 2 nights and she wore 2. And she does this frequently, right? They do 2 nights. She wears 2 different outfits. Love it. Never going to complain about it. I think you look your best when you do the job. I just found it hilarious that they cut it together that way. And I was like, she wasn't wearing that hair down with the black thing. No, then she did the ring announcing for Marti Belle and the Knockouts title match with Jordynne Grace, and she's wearing this silver thing with the hair done up, and she looks great, and she looked great the other time. I'm like, what happened here?
Listen, I love a good quick change. Listen, it's one of those things where my good co-host Joe Pearl has said, Impact will do things 99%. And if you want that 1%, that's all you. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I got another 1% that we're going to hit a little bit later, but instead let's talk about it. Cody Deaner comes out and he calls out Jake something. And he says, I got knocked out last week and I deserved it. And all I could think of is that I deserved it. And then this is my apology to you. I screwed up. Families fight. That's again, family. And then that's the theme of tonight's show. And then he wants to fight with Jake, not against Jake, because he's a coward. And then the good hands interrupt. And they call Jake something stupid, essentially. They talk more than that. Something knocks out Skylar. Deaner takes out Hotch. Santino Marella comes out and makes an official. It's KFC match. No, not the chicken. It's a Kentucky Fight Club match. I wish they had used the chicken. That would have been fantastic. But instead, it's basically, what is it? It's just a tag match. It's just.
They weren't even in Kentucky, so I don't understand. Don't.
Hold on. Yes, they were on the outskirts of Cincinnati, but they were basically right on the river type of thing. It was a geographical convenience, Cresta.
You know what? Wrestling's cool. Just do what you want. Just do what you want. Just do what you want. The rules are made up anyway. Just do what you want.
Why couldn't they have real KFC in the ring? Be the first one to down a bucket of chicken. Look at 3 out of 4 of those guys. You can't tell me 3 out of 4 of them. Jake would have been like, I'm out of here. But like the rest of them, come on. I can see them all try. I would have tried. I would have ate a bucket of chicken for a wrestling match. Why not?
Jake something if he was still in the Deaners. Absolutely. Again, if you were going to make a KFC match, why was there no KFC? 1. 2, why? 3, you're not even in Kentucky. Okay, geographical convenience. I'll give you that one, but Throw a drumstick or something, Santino. You're a nurse.
The match happens. Hotch and Skylar lose. Diener feeds something for Into the Void. Post-match, they shake hands, they pose together. The Dieners are back together for now. We'll see if that plays out further. I don't know what happened to Jake something because they were pushing him. They were doing something. I'm not saying it's over, but I'm certainly saying they cooled off a little bit seemingly, and maybe it's gonna move around, and maybe there's more story to this. One thing that's a positive about working with Diener is that he is also a producer backstage. So working directly with someone like Jake something is beneficial for both men. So I'm curious. I don't think that this is going to end negatively for either guy, but in terms of like working together, but storyline wise, I'm curious as to where this can go. I don't think it's going to be long hair drinking beer with the tractor. I think it's going to be a couple of throwback promos and then they'll move along in some way. What do you think?
I think that right now we are in a rebuilding phase for TNA. I will say main event scene is very top heavy. Even your X division is very heavy right now. We were just talking about how the tag teams could use a little love and the Dieners could work out for better or for worse. It's a great way to break them up and build back up Jake something. You have Jake something versus Alex Hammerstone eventually, or versus a Josh Alexander. You put him in that super heavyweight situation. Because I think they built Jake something up to the point where it's like, what are we doing with him now? Now he needs to win. If you're going to have him challenge Moose or an Ali, he needs to beat these guys now instead of get cheated out his boots, which he would, which he has been already by one guy, and you're definitely going to get cheated out your boots by the system. I also think Diener needed something to do in this sense of you've been losing a lot. Nothing you're saying is making any type of sense. So I think this is, like you said, is beneficial for both guys and especially the tag division. If you guys flop, it's a great way to break you up. And now you both have a program and something to do. If it works out, now we've got more depth to the tag division until it stops being so top heavy. And so even mid card heavy, because like with the exception of the digital media championship, X division, world heavyweight, yeah, those two divisions are stacked right now. They're very heavy in the contendership.
Oh, just you wait about the digital media championship. Anyway, 99/100th, the system are backstage. This is a really, really, really solid promo. This is a really, really, really good setup for Joe Hendry. This is a really, really, really messed up static shot. Something was very weird with the camera. Basically, if you've watched it or they've even posted it on socials, I feel bad because clearly they didn't want to have to do it this way, but they had the 2-camera shoot. The main camera was shooting, but something got messed up in the digestion of the footage that it kind of like stutter stepped everything. It sucks, but the actual content of the promo was really good. Joe Hendry comes in. He's serious. He's not just, it's not say his name and he appears. He walks in, reminds the system that he won the match for his team last week. And then you got Eddie Edwards taking offense to that, calling Hendry a clown. Edwards says, I've got 20 years under my belt. I'm a champion. This group is a bunch of champions. You're a flash in the pan. Go write a song about us. Bye-bye. Edwards and Hendry next week is exactly what we were talking about last week. This is the beginning of a potential serious Joe Hendry character, or at least a side of Joe Hendry that we haven't seen in TNA yet. What do you think of this whole segment and this whole setup for Edwards and Hendry?
I liked that it was serious. I like that it wasn't a say his name. He just said, I pulled up on you. I'm the one who pinned you. However, Edwards is threatening. He's like, yeah, go write a song about it. Bro, you don't want that. This ain't what you want. Like, here comes the obligatory Kendrick Lamar Drake rap reference. This is not what you want, Eddie Edwards. This is not what I know enough about Impact that there is enough stuff on you, Mr. Edwards, and that group collectively that if Joe Hendry really wrote a song about you, you're gonna have to shoot him. Not literally, that's a joke, but he's going to violate. I can't wait. Ooh, if he did Can You Please Get Fired live acoustic, bruh, and you giving him a week? Ooh, and you made it this game 20, that's a lot of time, Mr. Edwards. That's a lot of time. Now, I'm expecting him to jump the crap out of Joe Hendry. Maybe this might be something serious, but I do enjoy Joe Hendry getting a little with his songs. So I don't want them to completely be gone. However, I can understand if you don't want that to define who you are as a wrestler. But I hope he's in his bag next week. I hope I hope they jump him. I hope whatever he says is so bad that they have to jump him, because there's no way. There's no way.
It's the beginning of possibilities that Joe Hendry becomes that main event serious player that we talk about. And yeah, you can do the jokey joke. It's not going to go away necessarily if you do push him up the card, but you've got to start somewhere. And he can't be unserious all the time. And this is the first opportunity that they have to make Joe Hendry a serious contender and therefore a serious character. And I'm all good with that.
Yeah, I agree. Again, I don't want it to go away, and that's not what I'm suggesting, but I can understand why you would. Sometimes people, Daniel Radcliffe, for example, didn't want to be Harry Potter forever, so I get it.
And I get it when you subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. I get it. You get it. Cresta gets it. Everyone in the chat gets it. Our Discord is hopping and growing, and not just growing, but also our Fightful Select Discord is experimenting with some new things, some voice channel things, and a bunch of other stuff. But our Discord's always moving with the Ask SRS section. There's an In the Weeds section. There's a Sour Grab section. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in our Discord. We talk about wrestling. We talk about other stuff. That's on FightfulSelect.com, the best $5 in the business. You want to hear about MJF and a little bit of news about his impending return to AEW? We dropped that news story today on Select. Natalia's WWE contract update. We're talking about that over on FightfulSelect.com. You want Sean's Double or Nothing and King and Queen of the Ring predictions? He dropped an audio show today just for that, along with his backstage report every week, a Q&A that he does. Sour Graps is there every week with Kate and Alex. The Weekender with Steven Jensen, who hosts the big TNA pay-per-view post shows with us as well, and so much more over on FightfulSelect.com, the best $5 in the business. What are you waiting for, huh? Are you waiting for a personal concierge to come and bring you out here? Well, I'll tell you this much. Our personal concierge, George Iceman, was not able to bring out Ash by elegance. Instead, he puts up the photos of Ash's busted lip and tooth, and she's having emergency minor medical surgery by Dr. Finkelstein in Florida. I can say it. You can't. And Ashley is a mannequin, so there's that. Anything to add? That one? No?
I will say this was unnecessary. I'm trying to get into it, but this is the first time that George Iceman, like, this didn't add anything. I mean, I guess Chekhov's mannequin, I guess.
I think he's into her a little bit.
The mannequin or Chekhov?
Yes. Marti Belle versus Jordynne Grace. Listen, any match where Marti Belle hits the stroke and pays homage to Jeff Jarrett in TNA is a match for me. It's a good match. It's a fine match, but really the match is not what's important. Jordynne Grace lost an earring inside Marti Belle's gear. So if you notice that at one point she's picking at the top of her ear, it's because her earring got stuck in her fishnets, in her tights. She gets the win, does Jordynne Grace, with the Juggernaut Driver. And as she's walking up the ramp, former Knockouts champion Allison Kay returns. The Hex are back together. It's nice to see Allison Kay back on TV. It looks like maybe we're moving towards Allison Kay and Jordynne Grace next. I wouldn't mind that for a Knockouts championship match. Maybe against all odds, maybe sooner. We'll find out. What do you think of this match with Marti Belle and Jordynne Grace and the return of Allison Kay, the former Sienna?
I liked it. The match itself was good. This was a stiff match, and it went on a lot longer than what I thought it was going to be. Shout outs to Marti Belle. And I was like, I feel like I've heard that name before. Obviously, she was in the Hex. Good to see them back. Going back to our tag team depth roster problems, here we are. We got one female tag team. Let's do it. I'm with it. I'm here for it. It's very rare that I see Jordynne Grace get jumped and like beat up for real, for real. Jordynne Grace got beat up for real, for real. So this is going to be an interesting match. It's going to be a meaty match. And I can't wait. I love a big meaty match. I don't care. I'm equal opportunity meat. I like meat.
I can tell you're a big meat fan. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Me.
Oh, okay. Sounds about right. I don't know if you know this, but June the 4th, so 2 weeks from now, is actually a very special Impact taping. Or not taping, an Impact show. It's their 20th anniversary show. So that's going to be a special event for us to cover. The Knockouts title match might actually be that week.
Where is it at in June 4th?
They taped 2 weeks of, they taped 4 weeks of TV. This basically leads them into Against All Odds. No, it doesn't. Does it? No, it does. Yeah, it does. This brings them to Against All Odds. So they did 4 weeks of tapings.
I mean, if it's in New York, I might have to do a little razzle dazzle. I was gonna go before my birthday, but I couldn't. I was honky tonking too hard. I was in a tag team championship by myself.
It's taped. It's taped. The 20th anniversary show is taped. I'm saying it was part of these tapings that they just did. This was week 1 of 4. This is going to lead us into Against All Odds. That's June the 16th. Is it that weekend? Whatever that, 14th, 15th, 16th. It's Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to me. But 20 years of Impact TV is going to be that. June the 4th. We'll be there watching, talking about it here, doing that. Point is, it feels like Allison Kay versus Jordynne Grace for the Knockouts Championship will be that episode. But we'll find out soon.
Can't wait. That's going to be a good match. It's going to be a good match. Maybe some interference, but I don't think, because Allison Kay waited till the very end. You know, you think your friend can get it done.
Friends should always work together. Unless
if you lose and you didn't cheat, you only cheated yourself.
That's fair. Listen, we're cheating ourselves, not talking about Black Ink lore. Cresta Star. It's back.
Girl, it's COVID outside. I don't know what we're doing with this.
Look, man, they're making the referees wear gloves and masks.
Santino, I don't, like, okay. As a fan, I get it. The show must go on. We're going to make everyone wear hazmat suits. But I guess as a mark, as a professional, you should have canceled this man's bookings. What are you doing?
Well, he's under contract.
Yeah, but you gotta go to Dr. Finkelstein. Go to this guy so you get medically cleared, because something's transpiring here and it's nefarious. Okay.
Well, first of all, Dr. Finkelstein is not a licensed physician of that nature. He's a dentist. He's an oral surgeon, if you will. Not even. He's a periodontist. He's not a real doctor. What are you talking about?
So he better go see Father James Mitchell or something. He's got to get medically cleared. This is giving legitimate claims to the system, saying this is an unsafe work environment, and I don't want to give them legit claims. Come on.
Honor no more. We're right. Anyway, Santino's trying to get in touch with Jonathan Gresham. He's making everyone sick, and they're doing Gresham versus Sami Callihan next week. Gloves and masks for all.
How is that fair to the performer against him? That protects the ref.
Sami Callihan has a layer of God knows what that will keep.
He's from Ohio. You're right.
He's the only one who's impervious to the ink, and I think that should be the gimmick: is that everyone else Gresham comes around gets infected, but Sami's just like, "What's wrong? I'm fine. What's wrong with you guys?" That's how the whole thing goes.
Gonna give you the Tiger Driver 87 and said, "I forgot the 91. This is all I got. Drink the black ink. We're doing shots backstage." Why is this his voice now?
Sami gets hit by the ink, and instead of becoming like whatever everyone else is, he just becomes like nice guy Callihan. Like, it's like Dark Realm completely does just a 180 on Sami. And
so instead of Sami Callihan, and instead of like you Susan, so you'll have Samuel Callihan.
Yes.
I'm here. Book it, you cowards.
And he slicks his hair back all nice. He wears it nicely. He's no longer wearing a hat. He's just a bow tie and all. He's just the nicest dude ever. Sweater vest, the whole 9 yards. He says
swell.
He says swell. Thumbs up, thumbs stay up. And that's it. That's the gimmick.
I'm actually here for that. If we could do Susie, Susan, and Su Young, I'm here for a Sami Callihan and one Samuel Callihan. I'm here for it.
Wearing
yes. and a stupid little top hat. I'm here for it's one Samuel Callahan here for some fancy fine wrestling, if I do say so myself. Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
Smokes a corn cob pipe and everything.
Cameron Grimes has entered the chat. That's my gimmick.
Listen, Trevor Lee might be back in TNA someday. That's all I'm saying. And then we'll need Sammy versus... Anyway, Tasha Steelz takes on Jody Threat. She wins the match. Jody Threat has new gear, and it looks great. I'm really excited for that. It's a different kind of gear for Jody. Nothing I've ever seen her in before. That was cool. The match, though, was weird just because it was all about how Jody is not paying attention to her tag partner, or Lars... I was about to say Lars Sullivan. Wow. Lars Fredrickson. They're telling her to get the pin on Tasha Steelz after hitting a power bomb, but no, Jody wanted to go and do the pop shove it, but no, instead Steelz counters it and gets the cutter, gets the win. Tasha Steelz needs a tag team partner because eventually Jody Threat and Danny Luna are going to have to take on whatever Tasha Steelz and her tag team partner do so that we can get them into Knockouts Tag Team Championship contention. But until then, what do you think of this match?
Who is Lars Fredrickson?
He plays he's in a band. It's
is
called
he from Motorhead?
No.
Oh.
Lemmy is long dead.
Sorry.
Yeah, Rancid is the band, and I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Up until recently, he was actually a contributing member to Fightful.com. He used to have a podcast here.
That's crazy. I know Rancid.
Anyway, so Rancid's frontman, Lars, he's also CM Punk's best friend.
Look in my eyes.
No, that's Living Color. That's a totally different band. Also, they should be like, come on, man. Do you not know Living Color? You are a New Yorker.
I do know Living Color. I was about to make a joke. You can do what you want to do, but I feel like that might be a little too dated. So, like.
My God. At least pick an album. Anyway, sing something from Vivid. PCO wants Steph Delander. No,
like I've never seen the Bryan Danielson Hell No movement, but I'm channeling that. No. I'm gonna be sports entertained, and I hate it. I'm kicking and screaming to the altar. This unholy matrimony. Where is Father James Mitchell? I know you're. No.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
Arrested Development.
Yeah, the TV show. Okay,
I know what that is.
Have you seen the movie Hot Rod?
No. All I watch is RuPaul's Drag Race and Wrestling.
Fair. Are you familiar with Will Arnett?
I do know who Will Arnett is. I'm familiar with his work.
So Will Arnett, who played Job on Arrested Development, if you need just a static line, he was also in the movie Hot Rod with oh my God, Andy Samberg, probably the best movie of all time. Quote me on that. And there's the part where he's playing the asshole boyfriend to Isla Dawn's character, not Isla Dawn, Isla Fisher's character.
That's a wrestler.
I talk about wrestling too much for a living. Isla Fisher's character is dating Will Arnett in the movie, and she is just like disgusted by him eventually. And the big moment where she breaks up with him is they're driving around in the little small town they're in. And he says to her, hey, babe, while you're in the grocery store, why don't you get some dong bags so we can knock boots later? First of all, condoms called dong bags, hilarious. Second of all, the catalyst, or not the catalyst, the aftermath of this includes her walking away. And this is a huge setup just to compare it to PCO yelling Steph, is Will Arnett saying, no, babe, 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 no, babe. And I can't yell because there are people asleep in my house. The point being, this was that scene, but with PCO and Steph Delander. Babe!
For what it's worth, my mouse is so fast. Every time I try to unmute myself, I'm trying to like move it real fast, and then my mouse is like, honestly, my statement still stands. I'm not moved. I'm not convinced. You could have even given me Star Wars. Is Padme safe? Is she okay? No, you actually killed her. No, I would have taken that too. It's same sentiment. But again, Listen, I'm gonna go kicking and screaming at the altar, and then I'm gonna talk about it. Like, this was so stupid. I was sports entertained. I don't even know why I doubted TNA. I know myself. Again, knowing I'm a flip-flopper, I know myself.
Just look up No Babe No Will Arnett Hot Rod on YouTube. You'll find the segment. Dong boots. Dong bags.
Dong bags is crazy. That's crazy. Dong bags. Okay, work, diva.
First Class are backstage. It's a First Class summer. They advertise the match. It's happening. AJ Francis takes on Laredo Kid for the Digital Media Championship. That's coming up. They didn't announce at the match when it's going to air, but it is going to air. Looking forward to that match. We've talked about it, that it was going to be taped. It has since been taped. Latinos in TNA. So we get to the main event tonight. Speedball Mountain explode Cresta star. Not literally. They just had a match against each other for number one contendership of the X Division Championship. Trent 7 defeats Speedball Mike Bailey, but a huge schmoz at the end. Champagne Singh is back. Raj Singh. He's wearing the pin of Ali. He's wearing the colors of Ali. Looks like he's siding with Ali, who was ringside for the match. Did get knocked out by Speedball. That cost him the match. Trent 7 did not know that there was interference, but this was a hell of a match. What do you think of this? Trent 7 defeats Speedball Mike Bailey.
Nobody here would die. And I feel like on that apron, especially in the final third, Mike Bailey's body at one point. Oh, let me make sure I say this right, because I was hearing two different things. Was it the Burning Hammer or the Burning Hammer? Either way, on the apron, after he did that to Mike Bailey's body said, oopsie daisy, and it bounced. Oh my God.
So it's the Burning Hammer, but it also is the Burning Hammer move, just called the Burning Hammer.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I have my wrestling knowledge together. This match was stiff. I knew this match was going to be good because these two are already phenomenal wrestlers. But this match had no right being this good. Champagne Singh coming out like, hey, I felt like that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio. I know that guy. Hey, where has he been? Glad to see him back. Siding with Ali. That tracks because you were a scumbag before you left. Why wouldn't you side with a scumbag now? And this guy's going to give you the protection. And this is a great person, much like with the good hands. Yeah, this is my enforcer. He's going to fight for me. And it works until it doesn't. So if you have another Jake something who wants to fight, or if you have a Hammerstone who wants to fight, you got to get through Singh. And Singh is a big dude. This was a good match. Honestly, Speedball and Trent 7, 3 7-star lariats. And he turned Mike Speedball Bailey inside out every time. Ultimo weapon on the apron in the corner. They beat each other up. So how are you going to fight Ali? You already soft. You look like Play-Doh right now, fresh out the tub.
We got some time before the match itself. They can heal up, but it did take a lot to put both men down. This was a really good match. This was a match where both men know each other so well because they're tag team. They're tag team because they work together. They were also put together auspiciously. So as a result, they can beat each other up. They don't feel bad about it. In the spirit of competition, they can win tag team gold together, or they can win singles gold because they've both been there. I like that this worked. I like that this match was as good as it was. I didn't doubt that Trent 7 would get the win because I really am expecting Speedball versus Mustafa Ali at Slammiversary. That's a big moment for Speedball in his hometown of Montreal, and the X Division Championship match, win or lose. That's still a huge moment for them. And that the match itself would just be fantastic and the build would be excellent. Again, the match, there's nothing I can add to talk about the match that we haven't already talked about, or that you shouldn't already just go out of your way to watch, because these two just work so well together. So again, Champagne Singh comes out and basically gets himself involved in the match, costs Speedball the match. Remember the last time we saw Champagne Singh? He was rich, he could be a wealthy benefactor to Ali's campaign funds. I wouldn't mind Champagne Singh being the advisor who just donated all the money to his campaign, because Ali is also a bit of a seedy political figure.
A seedy political figure? No way.
Don't tell Mustafa Ali that I said this. We had a great interview with him not too long ago. Offered me a job and everything, but I didn't take it because I'm a journalist or something. No, I'm not. Who am I kidding? Anyway, the point being, Ali's character is that of a seedy under, he's a piece of garbage. But Champagne Singh being a donor and getting himself into every potential situation because of his money fits perfectly. And I wouldn't mind
his interests.
He protects the interests. But what is the interest of Champagne Singh? What does he want Ali to be the guy for? What's he covering for?
So you can keep that X Division championship and eventually cash it in for my world title run. I gave you all this money.
I keep forgetting this whole conversation we keep having of Bailey loses at Slammiversary. Nick Nemeth wins the world title and immediately gets option C'd by Mustafa Ali. I keep forgetting about this conversation.
And then you have Champagne Singh like, thank you. Now, I don't think
Champagne Singh's going to get the world title.
Yeah. I want to say full respect. I'm going a little wild, but full respect. Even if you said I'll fight you for it, I think Ali gonna stretch you like a pretzel. Respectfully.
I also appreciate that Trent Seven didn't, or at least commentary made the point that he didn't know about the distraction. He didn't see it. He didn't notice it. He didn't realize that he was taking advantage of something. And that will play into the next few weeks, which is good. But he got the win unknowing of the distraction. That keeps both men strong. And it also keeps both men equally baby-faced and pure. That's a good sign. I like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was, everything was a smart call for commentary to put that out. Because I was like, nobody saw that. And commentary was like, nobody saw that. It's like, oh, nobody saw it.
So set up for Against All Odds already. For the X Division Championship, it's going to be Trent Seven versus Mustafa Ali. For the TNA Tag Titles, you've got the Nemeth brothers, Nick and Ryan, taking on the System. And then you've got the World Championship match, Moose versus Matt Hardy. I like where we're going. I like that this is happening at Against All Odds. They're making it a good show, a big show, a packed show, a show that matters. And people who were, worried about Moose versus Matt Hardy at Slammiversary doesn't feel like we're going that way. I'm glad that they would do it now, possibly just get that match out of the way while Matt Hardy is here and hot and working on it. So what do you think so far of the Against All Odds card? We got 4 weeks until the show.
I'm actually excited for the next couple of months for TNA. Slammiversary, just all the possibilities to get there. And this is before we're even at Against All Odds. So I'm super excited for TNA. I'm excited to get back, like I said, into wrestling again. And this, to me, was a good first night. The back chops, I had to mention that too. The back chops were gnarly because they said that's a disrespect. And these men beat the crap out of each other. TNA really did that tonight. Good job, TNA. 10 out of 10. I would recommend. Watch TNA tonight if you're bored. Or if you're not bored. If you like wrestling, watch TNA. Don't be weird. Don't be weird.
Yeah, so this is also something worth mentioning. This is why you don't do Ali versus Speedball in Chicago, because you're in Ali's hometown. He's going to get that hometown pop. It's going to be a big deal. And Trent Seven, yeah, he's a babyface. They're going to work babyface, but you couldn't chance it with Speedball. But if you do it in Montreal, where the babyface Speedball is the challenger, there's a huge opportunity there. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And they're gonna boo him regardless. You're right. They're gonna boo that man. They're gonna boo whoever was across from Ali regardless.
Listen, an impartial viewer saying watch TNA every week, I can't tell you you're wrong.
You're not wrong. I too am an impartial viewer.
And while you're doing that, check out the post show. We do it every week here after Ring of Honor. We talk about TNA because we watched TNA. The people before us didn't. They did Ring of Honor, but we're here every Thursday. We cover all the specials and the pay-per-views as well. Cresta Star, what you got going on this weekend in the future? Who knows?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am out here in these wrestling streets tomorrow. If you live in New York City, I will be at House of Glory. If you see me, say hi. Buy me an alcoholic beverage. My name is Whiskey. On Saturday, I will be covering Collision. Myself and Rick will be here because Iridian is having a good time in Vegas, doing Double or Nothing without us because she's so cool. So, yeah, so it'll be me and Rick. And on Sunday, I think I'm going to go. Again, if you're in New York, I think I'm going to go to Brooklyn, and we're going to have a Double or Nothing watch-along party. So, there's that. It might be cute. It might be a cute little moment. I may show up with my mustache. Remember that? What a wild time. Besides that, you can find me over on X at Cresta, the star, like Megan, the Stallion. All my links are in my bio and my link tree. I love you guys. You're fantastic. I've been talking all day. Joe Pearl, I want to shut up. Where can they find you?
I'm easy to find. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, Mike Santana joins us talking about House of Glory, TNA, and all the other stuff. So join us then. That's going to be a great interview on In the Weeds over on Fightful Overbooked. That's our sister channel where you can go subscribe now, get all of the ESPN2 style commentary that comes with it. Yes, there's news, but let's face it. We all just want to talk about wrestling and other stuff. In the Weeds, we go weird. It's just the way it goes. Let it happen. It's fine. Cresta and I are here every Thursday as we do. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Bye.